Welcome back. You're watching the Urban Debate on Mirror Now. I'm Faye. Thank you for joining us. It's time for a quick face-off between Yogendra Yadav and Brijesh Kalapa. Yogendra Yadav is a farm expert in the country, and we've relied on his opinion, his extremely studied opinion about several issues. And I'm glad to have him back on the show. We have Brijesh Kalapa, who is the national spokesperson of the Congress party, and there is a reason why we have asked both of these gentlemen to give us their time, because of the debate we were just having. The fact that the Congress party needs to be nationally accountable at this point for continuing to offer farm loan waivers, while it knows from its own experiment in Karnataka, where Mr. Kalapa is from, that farm loan waivers cannot be actioned and distributed in 10 days. Mr. Yadav, I'll give the opening statement to you. Why do you believe that the Congress party should be cautioned based on the promises it's making, especially going into 2019?
First, Faye, I'm not an agriculture expert. This country has great agriculture economists. I'm not one of them. I'm just an agriculture activist, farm activist, you can call me. The reason why I would like Congress and all other parties to be cautioned, not because I'm against farm loan waiver. I'm for it. Farm loan waivers are necessary at this stage. They are desirable and affordable if the central government pitches in. But I want it to be done with some sense of responsibility. Different political parties, Congress is not the only one, have gone around making promises which they then realize they can't fulfill. When the promise is made, it is unconditional and it is time-bound. Farm loan will be waived within 10 days. When the government comes to power, it says, well, only this category, only up to this amount, only up to this date, it becomes conditional. And it is deferred indefinitely. Take the case of Karnataka. The government comes on a clear promise. Once it comes to power, then it realizes that, no, actually we don't have money. Then they put all kinds of conditions. Several conditions have been put. And then the government says, okay, we'll do it till 5th of December. This is the deadline set by the government, not by anyone else. And we realize that till 5th of December, they have covered only 800 cases, while, according to government's own admission, about 20 lakh plus farmers should get the loan waiver. So my question is, do political parties like Congress not prepare seriously before they make this announcement? Do they have any idea of budgetary situation? And should we not expect some kind of a serious work from political parties, especially because Congress has announced something like this in Chhattisgarh, in Madhya Pradesh, in Rajasthan? Do we expect the same to be replayed, as was indeed the case in Punjab? Although Congress is not the only guilty party, Maharashtra, Uttar Pradesh is equally bad.
Mr. Kalapa, that was the opening statement by Yogendra Yadav, and this is the argument. 20 lakh farmers in Karnataka deserve a waiver. 2 lakh have applied. Only 800 have received any help from the government so far, 6 months in. Now, let's accept that the government is well-intentioned and it will take time, which I'm sure is the argument you're going to give me. Then please explain to me why Rahul Gandhi and the other Congress members in Chhattisgarh, Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh promised a 10-day deadline for a farm waiver, when you know just as well it can't be done in 10 days. Are you not serious about the promises you make?
See, Faye, I wish you would also ask Mr. Modi about the several promises he has made.
I do on a daily basis, Mr. Kalapa. Today I'm asking you.
You know, once government once government formation takes place, once the bureaucracy falls into line, once there is a full cabinet, we have no difficulty in having a farm loan waiver. As far as what Mr. Yadav just said, I think it was totally misinterpreted. I think the fact is that as far as these farm loan waivers are concerned, we are doing it in a phased manner. We don't have 46,000 crore to distribute to the farmers today. We are doing it over a period of 5 years. We have set a target, and we are doing X amount every year for a total sum of 47,500 crore. So this is something which is happening on a daily basis, on a continued basis. It's a job in progress. So one can't say that only 800 farmers have been. Of course, yes, 800 farmers have thus been given so far. But the process has only begun. It means the remaining farmers are not going to get loan waivers. But if you're going to say that no, this is only 800, no more farmers are going to get.
No,
I think
Mr. Kalapa,
it's
Mr.
completely
Kalapa,
wrong.
you obviously misheard my question.
Totally unpalatable, unacceptable.
Mr. Kalapa, you've obviously misheard my question. Now, the Karnataka government had a deadline of the 5th of December for all data, which has not been done. My question is, why are you making 10-day deadline promises, which Rahul Gandhi has made just 2 days ago? He said 10 days into taking over in these states, we'll action a farm loan waiver. How is that even possible? Mr. Yadav, your rebuttal, please. Go ahead.
I was just trying to remind Mr. Kalapa that, look, if you knew all this, why not announce it in the elections? Why fool the voters if we are saying, look, we don't have the money, we'll distribute it over 5 years. Why not tell the voters, look, it will take 5 years? If you think you cannot get the data in time, then at least after coming to power, you know the situation. Why on 5th of July, your government makes this announcement, but that by 5th of December, we would be able to complete it? What was the promise? Did your government say that by 5th of December, we would do 800 farmers? So why not do it with some seriousness? My only question is, you can say that within 10 days, we can pass only executive order. We cannot actually do waiver at the ground level. Why not say this in elections very clearly? Why make these promises which carry double meaning?
Mr. Kalapa, why make promises that you don't intend to keep?
No, we don't. We have not. See, I don't think we are guilty of that. I think you must appreciate that there is a huge farmer crisis in the country, and if the politicians of the day don't try to relate to their problems and don't try to reach out to farmers and treat them as if they don't belong to our country, I think it's absolutely wrong. Because unless you give the farmers a sense of hope, a sense of relief, then it's impossible for them to continue their profession. It's impossible for them to continue their profession. So there is nobody is running away from the fact that we have promised. In fact, the JDS had promised a full farm loan waiver. The Congress party had said that we were going to give a farm loan waiver to the extent of 50,000 lakh, 50,000 rupees. But since both the parties have come together, one minute, Faye. Okay. Since both parties have come together, we have said that loans to the extent of 2 lakh rupees will certainly be waived, and they will be done. They will be done. Enough and more certificates have been given to say that, look, the farmer has no more loans. Okay. Enough of the certificates have been given.
Mr. Kalapa, you see, the point of this conversation, Mr. Kalapa, is the promises that are being made. And I'm asking you as national spokesperson of the Congress party, the promises that are being made in Chhattisgarh, MP and Rajasthan of a loan waiver actioned in 10 days of taking over government. When Mr. Kamal Nath himself has said on camera that jugaad karke nikalenge paise. They don't know where the money is. They haven't seen the state budgets. They don't know what it's going to cost in any of these states. How can the Congress party make a promise of this manner, of this size, without knowing the details? Isn't this irresponsible? You're stringing along these farmers that you are championing at this point on this channel without any clarity of how you will keep the promise.
See, Faye, I think when you see people in totally impoverished condition, people who are on the verge of suicide, people who are on the verge of vagrancy, and people who are on the verge of destitution, you're not going to think, if I have money in my pocket, the idea is to help them. And the situation of the farmers, I think everybody knows, is totally pathetic in the country.
Oh, dear
I don't think it needs to be overstated. And our policy has always been, whether in regard to Mr. Manmohan Singh's government, that when we waived off farmers' loans to the extent of 72,000 crore, I think our bona fides are very clear. Nobody's questioning our bona fides.
Mr. Kalapa,
there may be a delay of 5 days, maybe 10 days, but nobody's saying we are not going to keep our promises.
Mr. Kalapa, with all due respect to you, I must point out here
that the Congress party has no intention of keeping its promises.
I must point out here, with all due respect to you, your response right now, I find offensive as a member of a farming family. The farmers are not charity cases. They are partners in the development of India. To say that I saw such a pathetic state that I promised whatever I could without any idea of how I would fulfill that promise is quite frankly condescending to the farmers, that you think that you'll just say whatever you need to at that point. They need to be treated as partners. When you make a promise, you need to know how you will keep that promise.
I belong to a farmer's family.
I'm sure you do, and I'm surprised you said something like that.
You're not the only one, Faye. I belong to a farmer's family.
Very good. I acknowledge that. So why would you say that the situation was so pathetic that we just made a promise and we'll figure it out later?
There are different... No, I didn't say it like that. You're the one who's reading it like that. I said it differently. I said that there are farmers who are in the doldrums. They are facing a lot of difficulties. I'm not speaking of people who are involved in cash crop. I'm not speaking of cashew farmers like you are, or I'm not speaking of coffee farmers like I am, right? There are certain types of farmers in semi-dry conditions, people who are working, people without irrigation. There are a lot of kinds of farmers. We are not the only kinds of farmers in the country. There are varieties of farmers in the country.
One second. Allow Mr. Yadav to respond to that. Mr. Yadav.
They're in great trouble.
Mr. Yadav, the idea that you can make a promise to a farmer without knowing where the money is going to come from because their state of affairs is so pathetic is condescending. I don't know how you feel about it, but please go ahead.
Well, I don't think Mr. Kadapa actually heard your questions, or he was probably interested in answering your questions, probably because there is no answer. But the simple fact is Congress has now made promise in these 3 states. 10 days, it would be remarkable if Congress manages to pass even an executive order in the first 10 days, let alone implementing it. But the one good thing, Faye, is elections. Lok Sabha elections are coming. And if Congress governments in Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh and Rajasthan fail to live up to their promise by April or so, then voters know how to judge it. So there is an academic judgment, there is a media judgment, and there is the final judgment of this finger. That judgment awaits Congress. And clearly, if Congress governments fail to do that in these 3 states, it has no business going and asking for votes of the farmers in the Lok Sabha election.
All right, Mr. Yadav and Mr. Kalapa, I appreciate your time on Mirror Now. Thank you for joining us in this face-off. And like I've promised our viewers, and I promised the 2 of you, that we will continue to hold all governments to accountability, especially when you make the promise yourself and you set the deadline yourself. These are not deadlines that we're giving this government. They're deadlines that they have given to themselves.